Why do I fucking ramble? My God. You guys, welcome back to another episode of Don't Quote Her. I am back from a 2-week break and I took 2 gummies before I started recording this. So Merry Christmas. I took 2 weeks off. I needed just like, not that like an overwhelming number of people are fucking care right now, but I'll share why. I was feeling so overwhelmed. Like, I mean, life is life. So like, it's never going to stop. It's like just this never ending like shitstorm right now. I feel like everyone is really feeling the pressure. Like prices are going up, stress is going up. It's the holiday season. I mean, it's like literally nonstop. Okay. Like, can we get a fucking break? But I was like really feeling it. And then on top of all of that, you know, I'm trying to really pour some time and energy into this podcast and into my social media presence, which is like such a fucking corny thing to say. Like I hear myself say it and I just can't stand listening to it. But sadly, it's the way of the world if you want anything to get off the ground. So with that being said, I was feeling really overwhelmed. And then, you know, ding dong, you guys, wait, yeah, did I share that episode? Yes. You guys, if you follow me, you listened to that last episode, my ex had texted me during the recording of that episode. And if you watch it, please don't ever watch my episodes, which I'll also touch on here in a minute. But he texted me during the recording of that episode, right? And I don't even know where to start. So it's just like, it's just been a clusterfuck. Let's just say that. You know, I knew what my trigger was, but I couldn't like nail down, I don't know, I guess like in that moment, I couldn't nail down like how I was feeling about the situation, but it literally was like a epic downhill from there. He came back into my life briefly for like a week. And it was the most draining week of my fucking life. The last time that this happened, I felt this way, but I really contributed it to, I don't know, like mixed emotions or confusion, or not even confusion, because I knew I didn't really want to be with him. I didn't know what it was. So this time when he came around, I felt really and truly just a fucking wreck. Emotionally, mentally, I mean, physically, I was like, my body was just so tired. Like I felt so exhausted, but like my mind wasn't. And then even when I would lay down to try and go to sleep, like I wasn't getting any sleep. I was up like every hour, every 2 hours. And I just kept thinking to myself, like, okay, why in the fuck do I feel this way? Like, why? Like, I know why I feel this way. I know like what the trigger is, like I said, but like, why am I fucking feeling this way? You know? So I did some digging, and that's really what we're going to talk about today. Before I get into that, let me just like update you guys. So, you guys know I'm like pretty boring. I don't have any new romantic interests. I'm like super, super, super mega single, and I don't feel like I've been like this level of single in a minute. I feel like even when I was actually single, my heart was somewhere else, and so was my mind. So I feel like a whole new like energy surrounding that topic. With that being said, though, I'm just still so unimpressed with men right now. Like, it's just like, I can't even, there's really no fucking words. Work is good. Thanks for asking. Work is great. I got kind of like a semi promotion, not really a promotion, but like not really a lateral type deal. So I'm going to be taking on some new responsibilities at work, thank God. And that came with more money, which is great. Not a ton, but we're happy about it. And well, then there was Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was good. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Holiday season for me is just like, I don't know. Holiday season for me is tough. I'm not close with my family. I haven't been close with my family for a while. And I guess I really wouldn't even say like because the people I consider my family aren't blood related. So I'll say that, like, my like biological family, like, I'm not very close to them. When my dad passed away, it was just kind of like, there went that. But my Thanksgiving was good. So we get together at Katie's parents' place, who are my substitute parents, and we just like get drunk and we eat food. And like, this Thanksgiving was super simple, which I'm grateful for. I don't really like it when there's a bunch of people, like, as mean as that sounds, like, I'm just not into it. I hate, you know what it is like, I hate the fakeness. I hate the like, how have you been? Like, I hate all that shit. I really cannot fucking stand it. So it was nice because it was just like a small little get together. I was inebriated, which was great. And the food was good, and I didn't overeat, which is, even honestly, I surprised myself a little bit with that one. But it was a good time. And now we're pushing forward to Christmas. So buckle up, people. Get ready for hell, because Christmas is crazy. So many people I know are going to Disneyland or have been to Disneyland this like past weekend or two. And I'm so sad about it, because I wish I could go to Disneyland. Like, I don't want to ride any of the rides, maybe like the cool casual ones. But I really just want to go, like, eat and drink my way through and, like, get some nostalgia. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I told you guys I was going to dive in about the digging that I did surrounding how I was feeling, right? So if you've been listening to this podcast, you know that once upon a time, there were two of us. One of my closest friends was a co-host on this pod. She is no longer a host, and we are also no longer friends. I have nothing negative to say about her. This isn't an episode to trash her. She's wonderful in her own ways, and I really do miss her. But I've been feeling that. So that kind of like added to my emotional state. Then, like I shared, my ex reaches out to me. And here's something about me. I'm not one of those women who's like always in relationships. It takes a lot for me to commit to someone, and it also takes a lot for me to walk away. We could talk about that in another episode. But anyways, me and this person, the last time that things ended, we didn't end on a bad note. I mean, I guess like a breakup is always kind of bad. But I have no like bad things to say, and no, like, there's no anger or resentment. And if I'm being completely honest, I know that this person is not good for me. So I would say probably 8 months ago that wouldn't have helped, but it's something that like I am very viscerally aware of now. I was recording an episode, and I don't know if you guys listened. I mean, like, let's fucking hope, right? But one of my exes, my most recent one, had reached out to me after we had gone like no contact for almost 4 months. So watching that back and seeing my facial expression, like so funny. But also like the shock in my face, because after this last time that we had like kind of reconnected, I really thought that was it, you know? And like, I don't know. I wasn't like angry about the last time that we ended. I wasn't mad at him. It was just like, I was disappointed in myself because I knew what I was about to go through, like, after we had ended things. And I also knew, like, I already knew that he wasn't a great person for me. You know what I mean? So there's obviously like shame and disappointment that comes with that. I also know, I would be lying to you guys if I said that like sex was not a huge part of this either. Like, do not judge me, but like our chemistry, our connection is just like off the fucking scales sexually and physically, but our ability to like communicate effectively to one another it's not there. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect at it, but there's like some major work that he needs to do, and he's able to share that, but he's not able to like, or doesn't obviously want to make the steps to make himself better. So anyways, he reaches out. I entertain the conversation because he's actually in need of help. And I debated, I'll be honest with you guys, like, it took me a minute. But I debated if I was going to respond. And then after I did respond and he told me that he needed help, I debated if I wanted to help him out or not. And I went after he told me that he needed help. And I originally told him no. I waited all day and I just like kept thinking about it all day. I mean, like literally I'm anxious about it all fucking day. My mind is racing and I feel guilty. Like I didn't lift that day. My entire day was turned upside down, so after thinking about it all day and I was like clearly spinning out about it, I reached back out and I was like, hey, did you get it taken care of? And he said no, he was still working on figuring it out. And so I was like, okay, fine. I was like, I'll help you. And then we get to talking about that, setting all that up or whatever. And then, I was keeping it like non-emotional and I was keeping it very like, I don't know. I don't want to say like professional, but like I was just keeping it very like simple. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't like overly cheerful. It was just a casual conversation. And like I wasn't trying to poke the bear. You know what I mean? Like I really didn't want to see him at all. With that being said, after we get done, like, figuring everything out, he asked if he can hang out. And I was like, no, it's okay. We don't need to do that. And then he was like, Laurel, please stop being fucking weird. Like, come on the fuck on. And I was like, no, okay, fine. I was like, sure, we can hang out, whatever. And so we came over, we had some dinner and he was giving me like updates about work, whatever. We did not have sex. Okay. I know you guys are wondering. We did not. And then he went home and we had communicated since he had left, but a few days go by and the entire time, like I swear my brain was running a mile a minute. Like the stress was out of this world because I knew that I should have just stood my ground. You know what I mean? Like, why am I doing this? Like, what am I doing? Why am I even talking to this person? Like, Laurel, what the fuck are you doing? We wind up seeing one another again. And I tell him, listen, like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? Like, we already know, the outcome of this is so predictable at this point. Like, come on. I'm like spinning out over this, and I'm like, you don't need to pretend that you want something that you don't. I said, like, it's really not that serious, and he was like, no, he was like, I talk about you all the time to my mom. He's like, you're it for me. You're always on my mind. I compare like any woman that I've ran into since. He's like, I compare to you. And he's like, I know I need to be better and everyone around me, my close circle knows that you're good for me. You make me want to be a better person. You make me want to get up and get in the gym. You make me want to prep my food and eat more because he's like always trying to put on weight. And you make me want to get on a routine, which was like a huge point of contention with him and I previously. I want you in my life. My mom wants you in my life. Like, blah, 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 you're it. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's really how you feel? And he said, yeah. He was like, that's 100% how I feel. And he's like, can't we just try again, please? He's like, I really want to show you, like, well, let's take things slow. And he's like, I don't want to rush back into anything. He's like, we can go at whatever speed you're comfortable with. But he was like, let's just like try. And I just was like, this, I already knew in my head. I'm like, I know how this is going to end. You know what I mean? But I'm still like, okay, fine. Mind you, this entire week, I'm like walking around seemingly normal, but like inside my brain, I'm fried. Like I'm cooked. Like, in Home Alone 2, when Marv gets electrocuted, like after they break into the house and like it's been booby trapped and he's getting electrocuted down in the basement with his hands on the faucet. And he's like, his hair's all crazy and he's like shaking and like there's flashes of a skeleton. Yeah, 100%. Like that this week that this man came back into my life, that was me. Okay. Like 100%. So then, just like every other time before, something happens. Like something in his life pops up unexpectedly and he completely shuts down. Like, I mean, honestly, like who really knows whatever it is? Like he tells me it's one thing, but who the fuck knows? But at the end of the day, like what ultimately ends up happening, it's just like this pattern. Like something happens, right? Like something with his car, he has to get fixed on his car. That's like thousands of dollars, which don't get me wrong, it's stressful. I get it. Or his mom is in the hospital. That is ridiculously stressful. I totally get it, right? Or something happened at work. Like, this time it was, and he had shared this like when we had reconnected. that someone at work was like trying to take his job, and it was just like this whole fucking thing. Honestly, like I wasn't really listening. But at the end of the day, it's like something like that happens, you know, like life happens. And then his communication slows, and then he shuts down, and then his ego steps in. By this time, like I haven't done like a single thing I was supposed to do, or that I had planned to do. My mind is like all consumed in how I'm fucking feeling, you know? I'm exhausted, I'm depleted, I'm anxious, I'm sad, I'm mad, I still can't sleep. You know, and I finally just like got to this breaking point where like I asked him what the fuck his deal was. And he kept telling me, he's like, nothing, nothing, nothing. He's like, it's not a big deal, like nothing, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, obviously, I'm like reading, less at this point, like I'm less concerned what his deal is. And I'm just like trying to just figure out myself, like my emotions. Cause like I was spinning out, like I was just spinning the fuck out. And so Thanksgiving weekend rolls around, right? Still, we haven't talked all week, and I at this point hadn't heard from him, and I'm like so stressed at this point. Like I'm just so disappointed in myself. I'm so like I'm all these emotions of like sad, mad, anger, like frustration, all these emotions. Like, yes, of course, I feel them towards him, but like I literally am feeling them so strongly about myself that like my palms are like breaking out in blisters. Like I'm just that stressed, right? So then it's like you're just so disappointed in yourself because like you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like why are you like, come the fuck on, you know? It's like you're asking yourself like, why did I allow this to happen? And why do I think so little of myself that I would even like think that this was like something that could even like, what are you doing? Like, why am I so desperate for this fucking man's attention and affection? And I'll be like super honest, you guys, like I was dating down here. Okay. I'm sorry, but like it was true. Okay. So it's like, how the fuck is this happening? Like, how am I back here? You know? And I had 6 days off. And I really just like took the time to like do some digging within myself, like online reading about like how I was feeling and reading about like the stress that comes with that. And I internalize a lot. So it's like, if you don't really know me and you're not in my personal life, like on a day to day, I would not seem like an overly anxious person. I would not seem like an overly stressed out person. Not saying like it never shows, it does. At this point, like I'm existing in survival mode, and the choices that I make or don't make are affecting my ability to show up as the highest version of myself. And I'm sick of it at this point, you know? And I told myself, I'm not spending another year like this. I'm not wasting another year with this man. Like I'm not going to do this back and forth bullshit. I'm tired of learning lessons. So when I'm like looking all this shit up, reading articles and like watching shit on TikTok or whatever, one of like the biggest things that I was learning about is your nervous system. This unfiltered file today is going to be all about dysregulation and like what the difference is between being in a regulated state and being in a dysregulated state. Your nervous system controls your heart rate, your breathing, your hormones, your digestion, your ability to sleep, your emotional reactions, the ability to even like focus and rest. Like this all, when I'm like reading about this, like it's all sounding so familiar. Your nervous system controls everything, right? So why am I getting this bad sleep? Like my eating is off. The way I felt about food, like I would go all day without eating and then eat at night, or vice versa. Like I would eat in the morning and then wouldn't eat for the rest of the day. And then it like throws my discipline off. It just throws everything off, especially obviously my emotions. And so you're either in two modes, fight or flight or freeze or fawn. Reading about fight or flight, like obviously like I knew what fight or flight was, like I'm not a complete idiot, but like hearing about how people like actually exist in that state, you think like, oh my God, they must be insane. And then like I'm reading about it And I'm like, oh my God, like I'm constantly in this state. Fight or flight, it activates in your nervous system when you feel stressed, overwhelmed, anxious, or triggered. And that includes racing thoughts, irritability, tension, overthinking, rash decisions, shutting down, straying from your routine. Like your entire nervous system just like shuts down. And then there's freeze or fawn, and that activates when you feel grounded and calm and safe and open. And then you're able to think clearly. Your day-to-day mood is determined by which state your nervous system is in. Here's the thing, your nervous system doesn't know the difference between real danger and emotional danger. As I'm like sitting, like last week, stressed out, like, why the fuck did I do this? Da, 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 da. That state that you're in, your nervous system doesn't know the difference. So like your body will react the same way to a breakup or an unexpected text or an argument or work pressure or a memory as it does to someone following you down a dark alley or feeling nervous thinking someone's behind you, like, oh my God, like what about when you get in the car? Oh my God. And you think someone's in the car? That's terrifying. Anyways, so your brain just says, I don't feel safe. Even being in that stressed out mode and all week just feeling so dysregulated, I'm like, my body was feeling all out of fucking whack. My eating, the way I lifted, my sleeping schedule, it was all fucking terrible. And it was all because I was so dysregulated. Like, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I get like super upset, like my stomach starts to hurt or my stomach will start cramping. It's because, I kind of like always relate everything to stress. Like I'm one of those people who's just like, oh, it's just because you're stressed. Like, oh, you have a rash, it's because you're stressed. Oh, you're feeling a little bit sleepy, it's because you're stressed. Like that's literally like, I also blame everything on the weather. It's, whatever, interchangeable. And so so what's crazy is I'm like listening to myself say this. Your nervous system is connected to your gut. Okay. So like when you're dysregulated, your serotonin starts going down. Serotonin is made in your gut, and serotonin is the chemical messenger your body uses to regulate mood and emotions. So when that shit is shut down, your body is dysregulated and you are feeling like a fucking insane person. Okay. And this this right here, you're more sensitive to rejection, you overthink, you lose emotional, the words here, you lose emotional resilience, you chase safety instead of chasing yourself, versus like when you're regulated, you make better options, you have the ability to walk away, you can think clearly, you can respond instead of react. It's like insane because like I think about, the way I grew up, which also affects the way that your nervous system reacts. And in adulthood, if you grew up in chaos or inconsistency or neglect, emotional or physical, or you grew up in an unpredictable environment or unstable relationships, that's when your nervous system learned to stay on alert and feel safe. So it's like, as soon as you get like a whiff of something of that a negative space that maybe you had as a child where you felt dysregulated, it is like an instant, like you get back to that emotional state. When people are talking about, oh, I need to heal, like this is the shit that they need to start addressing is their triggers, right? So I'm like, okay, not saying that I'm an avoidant person, but when it comes to like processing the last couple breakups that I've had, I'll say this, like I've spent some time in it, like in the getting over, if you will, or I won't even say getting over, because that would mean that like there's still some type of connection there. But in processing those emotions, like post breakup, I never really sat in it too long. And I probably should have sat in it a little bit longer. Okay. But part of rewiring it is obviously addressing them and just being aware and being able to like write it down or, go to therapy or, talk to your friends. But I would say go to therapy. As long as you're able to process it and get it out and almost in a way kind of like put it out in the open in front of you so you can see it, it helps you feel more regulated and it helps you really process like, okay, I'm reacting this way because I know this is a hot button for me. So you know what, like this is how I'm going to handle that situation. Or, training your nervous system to be like, okay, I know that I feel unsafe when someone does XYZ. So once they do it the first time, like end it. And not to say that like there's not room for mistakes, and not to say that like it's really that black and white, because it's not. But when you're able to really point out what is making you come out of that regulated state, it does help later on down the line. Other things that really help that I have been ultimately, don't tell Katie because she manages this apartment complex, but ultimately I want to get a cold plunge tub out on my patio, not like one of the big ones, but like the 40-gallon ones. And because I am starting to do like cold shower, wake up at 4 and then I'm out the door by like 4:45 for the gym. I get back around 6 and I'll shower and whatnot before work. And so one of the things that I read about was doing like, even just starting with like a 30-second cold shower after you take a hot shower. They said that like that is supposed to help lower your cortisol, which is your stress, reduce anxiety, blah, 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 blah. So I've started doing that in the shower and it is so fucking hard. Anyways, but I want to get a tub because I feel like it's not cold enough, but it's like, it's still uncomfortable. I don't know. I need it to be like, I want it to be like ice fucking cold, like take the fucking breath out of me. Another thing that really helps is I haven't really mastered this, and so I'm not going to sit here and preach to the choir, but they did, when the reading that I did, it was like breathing exercises really help. And then doing something physical helps. And it honestly, you know, during that week, I didn't lift 5 days. And I remember like maybe it was Saturday. Yeah, it was Saturday. Because I had also had Friday off, but Saturday I literally had to like kick my own ass and get me out the door and go to the gym. Like I was just so, I think I just said kick me own ass, but I meant kick my own ass. I was so upset and so frustrated and so just like down and hard on myself, but I made myself get up and go to the fucking gym. And I'll be honest with you, it does help. Even though in the moment you're like, God, the last fucking thing I want to do right now is like put on these clothes and I just want to listen to sad music. You know what I mean? It really did help. What's helped me is this podcast. It does require a lot of my brain space. So it is nice to like have something to like I can get creative with, and you know what I mean, like whatever, that does help. But I also do a lot of writing just in general, and that really does help. I write outlines for the podcast, but also just like doing research and whatnot, and you know, putting my brain on paper. And then I journal before bed too. And that really does help, like getting out all the shit, like even if it's like not about a relationship, if it's about work or a friendship, you know. I was also processing that, like trying just to like emotionally get through this shit. I was just writing a lot. And so that does also help, like just doing a mind dump. And it's also, what I really love about it is going back in time and reading the shit that, you know, that was also something that when I was like trying to detach from this relationship, I would go back and I would read old journal entries from the time that like we were dating. And it was just like, Laurel, what the fuck are you? You know what I mean? It was just like such an eye opener. Anyways, a huge reason why I wanted to do this episode is because, not for lack of knowledge on what my nervous system is, and not for lack of knowledge on the role it plays in your body and your in your mental and emotional state, but a huge reason why I wanted to have this conversation was because I always just told myself just to push through it, you know, like whenever, I mean, I'll say this much. I'm one of God's toughest soldiers. That's for fucking sure. So when something happens, I go into fight or flight, and I am overthinking and obsessing, and I'm trying to like gain control, thinking like that's going to be the way to solve whatever's going on. When in reality, whether it's a relationship or whether it's work or it's a friendship or whether it's just like life, there are ways that you can set boundaries with other people and with yourself. And there are ways that you can regulate your nervous system to where it won't completely derail you. because that's where I was getting to the point of where like every time this person stepped back into my life would get completely derailed. And as much as I want to be upset at him about that, and of course, like I have choice words for him and the role that he played in this, at the end of the day, like the person that you're mad at is yourself. And that is a different kind of emotional struggle. When you lay your head on the pillow at night, it's you and your thoughts, you know, and you're replaying everything in your mind and you're overthinking and you're obsessing over different outcomes. And then you're replaying even more shit. And then you're also thinking about work. And then you're thinking about this. And it was just like a clusterfuck. I felt so debilitated. So I felt like I wanted to open up this conversation because I know, I mean, this is really like a ladies episode, but I know that there are women out there who feel the exact same way, where it's like you get stuck in this cycle with this person, but it's so much deeper than that. You're stuck in a cycle with yourself. And going into a new year, like one thing I didn't want to take with me was the way that I handled my nervous system and the way that I handled my life when instead of laying down a boundary, I lean into certain things. Going into 2026, I want to get so much better at laying down boundaries for other people and for myself. So I hope that this like hit, okay? I know that there are some fucking people out there that can relate to this, and I hope that this hit, and I hope that you guys like understand, and I hope that like I'm not just crazy yapping on my gummies. So don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. You can find Don't Quote Her podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. One thing though about this episode and episodes moving forward, I ain't fucking recording that shit. I'm not recording me record, if that makes fucking sense. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm over it. I'm tired of editing both video and audio, and I'm so fucking sick and tired. Oh my God, of like getting like full face ready every single time. Jesus Christ. God forbid I get on social media looking like even the slightest bit like a gremlin. The internet loves hating on me. It's actually probably contributing to this nervous system bullshit too. Anyways, so I don't record video, but I still post on YouTube, so the audio will be on YouTube. Anyways, with that being said, follow, like, and subscribe. And I think there's gonna be 10 episodes this season, and then I will get some episodes rolling for the new year. The next episode that you guys listen to, I'll lay out a calendar. Yeah. So I think the last episode is going to be the 29th, and then we will start season 3 in the new year. Anyways, thank you for listening, but whatever you do, just please don't quote me. All right. Bye.